So these skills that the GROW program is teaching should make an immense difference in the home, because what you'll have is a relationship with your children where there's less conflict and more cooperation, more of a spirit of cooperation and more of a spirit of fun, because a lot of what we do is really playful too. Every human being on the planet has to get along with other human beings on this planet, if we are to go on. And if we can learn to see things from other people's points of view and take other people's perspective, that's 90% of the battle. And that's the beauty of this program, is that this is what we're having kids practice. And if we can all do this, then we're still going to have conflicts. Humans have conflicts, but we can resolve those conflicts instead of fighting. If we want kids to go out in the world caring about other people's feelings, our first job as parents is to care about our kids' feelings, which sounds really simple, but in real life, it can be hard to do, because it's not always our natural tendency. When our kid says, I hate the baby, we want to say, that's not nice. Don't talk like that. How dare you? You love your brother. If he says, it hurts, sometimes we say, oh, come on, it's just a little bump. It can't hurt that much. And, kids sometimes go through the day having their feelings dismissed and brushed away. Really, mostly we're talking about negative feelings. I don't think most of us have a problem with positive feelings. It's like, oh, you love your brother? That's wonderful. You did well on your math test? That's lovely. Maybe you'll be an engineer. It's when kids say something negative that we want to shut it down. We want to dismiss the feeling. We want to tell them why they shouldn't feel that way. We want to tell them they're overreacting. But the problem is, when kids go out in the world, if they've been told repeatedly that their feelings aren't important and don't matter, it's going to be hard for them to learn to respect other people's feelings and think about other people's feelings. So what we can do as parents is make a real shift at home. So when a kid gets hurt and he's weeping, we can say, "Ooh, even a little bump can hurt. Let me give it a kiss." When a kid says, "I hate the baby," instead of saying, "Don't you dare, how dare you talk that way, you love your brother," we can say, "It sounds like you're really annoyed with the baby right now. It's not easy being a big sister. It's not easy having little kids around. Sometimes you like it and sometimes you don't." If a kid says, "This homework's too hard," we can stop ourselves from saying, "No, look here, it's easy." No kid ever took heart from the idea that what he is struggling to do and failing to do is easy for other people. It's just not helpful. We can say, "Oh, math can be really frustrating. All those little long division steps can drive you crazy." That's what will help a kid when he hears that his parents accept his feelings and his feelings are okay. There's a saying that not till the bad feelings get out, can the good feelings come in. So if he's angry at his little brother and he has a parent who says, "Oh, it can be frustrating to have a little brother, they're always grabbing your stuff," it will actually be easier for him to be friendly to his little brother. And there's another thing we're doing here, is we're giving them a vocabulary of feeling. We're teaching them words like frustrating, disappointing, irritating, annoying, sad, angry. What else? What else is in there is we want our kids to be problem solvers. We don't want them to fall apart in the face of adversity. And problem solving also can start at home. I think one of the facts of life of being a kid is you get ordered around a lot. We all do it. If we want our kids to do something, we have to tell them to do it, right? And if we want them to stop doing something, we certainly have to tell them to stop doing it, because they won't stop on their own. So, you say, "Keep your hands to yourself, pick that up, stop that, don't kick the chair, get your shoes back on." So they get ordered around a lot. And sometimes, just for a little flair, we add a threat. "You throw sand one more time, I'm taking you straight home." And the problem with language like this is the kid doesn't hear the whole thing. You know, what the kid hears is, throw sand, one more time. So our challenge is to find a different way to talk to our kids when they're doing the wrong thing. And one of the ways we can do that, and one of the ways we can start a kid on the way to being a problem solver, is just by, instead of giving them a command, to give them a choice. So we can go up to that kid that we've told again and again not to throw sand, and we can say, you know, I can see it's too tempting to throw the sand in the sandbox. We have a choice. You can play on the grass or you can play on the swings. Which do you choose? And, you know, now instead of telling the kid what to do, it's a little shift. We're asking him, you know, think about this. When we talk to kids this way, for one thing, it eliminates the automatic resistance that people have to being told what to do and being threatened. Because as soon as I tell you what to do, and I've had grown-ups say this to me, as soon as somebody tells me what to do, I don't want to do it. So we eliminate that, but we're also giving them a language with which to approach conflict. And even at very young ages, they can start to absorb this language. But what happens when our kids have really done something wrong? You know, and that's when we really have the urge to punish them. Again, I want to teach parents alternatives to punishment, because when we punish a kid, we do teach a lesson, but we don't always teach the lesson that we think we're teaching. David Elkind, the child psychologist named David Elkind, has this story. I don't even know if it's true, but it's a good story, of a mom who was home all day on a rainy day with her baby and her 3-year-old daughter, and the 3-year-old was just in a miserable mood. You know, she was whiny and fussy all day, and the mother was running out of patience. And at one point, she had gotten the baby down for a nap, and the 3-year-old went and poked the baby awake. And the mother said, "That's it. You're going to be punished. I've had it with you." And she took the 3-year-old and put her in the closet and shut the door. And there was silence. And then after about a minute, the mom couldn't take it, so she opened the door, and the kid's rustling about in the back of the closet somewhere. And she says, "What are you doing in there?" And the little girl says, "I'm spitting on your clothes, and I'm spitting on your shoes." And then she goes like this, and she says, the mother says, what are you doing now?" And she says, "I'm waiting for more spit." So I would propose to you that the problem with punishment is it doesn't make kids feel remorseful. It doesn't make them reflect on their deeds. It doesn't make them look for solutions. What it does is it makes them feel resentful. And it actually, punishing a child actually can create a selfish child, because they tend to think of themselves. You know, what TV shows am I going to miss? You know, this is unfair. He started it. Why do I have to be in timeout? He's a brat. Whereas teaching kids to look for solutions creates a very different mindset. You know, we have to think about, how do we want kids to approach conflict? You know, do we want them to approach conflict by thinking, you know, what's going to happen to me? You know, am I going to get caught? Or do we want them to approach conflict by thinking, what should I do to the other person to make them suffer? Or do we want them to approach conflict by thinking, you know, what can I do to fix this? You know, what can I do next time differently? There's a researcher in child psychology named John Gottman, who's a very eminent researcher, and he calls this kind of talk where he calls it emotional coaching. So he actually studied 2 sets of parents, and one of them he called emotional coachers, and these are parents who accepted their children's feelings and gave them names and saying, you know, "Oh, I can see that's disappointing. You were looking forward to that," or "How frustrating," or "That can really make you angry." And the other set he called emotionally dismissive. And these were the parents who said, you know, "You're overreacting. You shouldn't feel that way. Stop it. That's not nice." And really shut down their kids when they expressed feelings. And what he found was that the children who were in the first group, They did better at school. They got along better with their peers. They got along better with their teachers and their parents. They did better on tests, on standardized tests.